You are now locked in to the Red and Blue Rivalry podcast, the podcast where we always talk all things San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys.
My name is Eric Hernandez, and I'm repping the faithful.
And I am Philip Enriquez, always repping for America's team. And it is Week 16, the Week 16 edition of the podcast. We got the live chat going on YouTube. And it's been a long journey, my friend, from the off season.
Yeah, from the first game in San Francisco.
The first game in San Francisco, we went.
Preseason.
And our playoff dreams are still right in front of us.
Yep.
We did you guys the favor.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Got you guys in the playoffs by spanking the Rams.
Appreciate that.
Frisco is in. They've clinched their berth.
First in 5 years.
There's still a lot of work to be done in the regular season. I'm sure you don't really want to go to Dallas or Philadelphia, depending on that game.
No, you don't want to. You want to be home.
I think what's more important for the 49ers is the bye.
Yeah.
Especially with the injuries.
Yes.
But we'll get into that in a second. All I'm saying is, man, it's still all ahead of us. We got a big game. We can clinch, punch our ticket in as the 4 seed this weekend. So big things to talk about. Also some big games this weekend that we have to cover and go back and review. So let's do the damn thing, man. First things first, man. The Atlanta Falcons, man. How did this happen, and what is the level of concern going forward for the 49ers?
Just a quick recap. The Niners lost at home to Atlanta Falcons 29-22, and it really was 23-22. They had, the Niners had the ball with like a second left, lateral, fumble, kind of end of play, scoop, score, touchdown. The concern isn't in the play. The concern is in the injuries. And, you look at the defense. I mean, injuries are finally starting to take a toll. I mean, you have, I think, 3/5 of your secondary out. You have your starting strong safety, your starting nickel, and your starting right corner. And Richard Sherman, Ahkello Witherspoon, and Jaquiski Tartt. And these guys are all having great games. And this was a game you kind of needed them on defense. So I'm going to break down the defense because it's a little more cut and dry. You had Bosa looking kind of tired. You had, you saw Bosa. He got his sack. I think he's 9.5 sacks in his rookie year. That's
very impressive.
Yeah, voted to the Pro Bowl. Is an absolute beast. He is going to be the future of this defense. This defense will go as he goes, as he continues to grow. But I think, again, injuries. You're missing D Ford. Not having somebody on the other side, and I think that not just missing D Ford, but D Ford's backup in Ronald Blair. And Ronald Blair's back up in Demontre Moore. Like, you've lost so much. You have so many injuries.
How is Demontre Moore doing?
He's out for the year. He just got signed against Green Bay. Like, he was cut in the preseason, signed with us week 8 against Green Bay, broke his forearm that same game.
Ouch.
Yeah, and he was good. He looked good. He's the type of
flashes.
Backup. Yeah, he flashes. He's the type of guy you want as a backup.
Yes,
because
he can go in there and make a few plays. He's just not consistent.
No, exactly.
For entire games or weeks.
But if you have him, he's better than whatever we have. Forget that 92 ventriloquist. I can't say the names. But at one point, you're getting into like the 6th, 7th defensive end. You lose DJ Jones, your starting nose tackle. I mean, quiet as it's kept, the Niners are one of the most injured teams in the league. I mean, they've across the board losing Quan Alexander, losing DJ Jones, losing D Ford, losing Ronald Blair, losing Demontre Moore, losing, not having Richard Sherman, Ahkello Witherspoon. I don't know when Jaquiski Tartt's going to come back. He's got broken ribs. He's week to week. Richard Sherman should be back, but I think they finally took their toll against Julio Jones. I think Julio Jones wanted this game. I think they wanted to prove something, and I think this defense finally just kind of broke a little bit. Right. Can they be fixed? Yes, but this game wasn't lost on the defense. This game was lost on the offense.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of hard for me to swallow that. I didn't watch the whole game, but I was flipping back in the fourth quarter when I started to see, wow, this is a close game. Like, what's going on? So I was switching back and forth with the Dallas game. They were playing at the same time.
Yeah.
So from what I did see, I saw them moving that ball in the fourth quarter. In particular, it looked like Julio Jones put the game on his back and said, hey, I'm going to take this one home. I mean, so why the offense? Because from what I saw, Julio Jones abused that secondary.
Because of what I talked about like last week. I said this team needs to get out to a 14-point lead, and then they can kind of sit in the driver's seat. And this defense looked to only score 22 points after being able to put up 40 something on the New Orleans Saints on the road, to be able to do things to Baltimore, putting up 17, which is not much, but against Baltimore in the rain. And the offense just looked off. They looked out of sync. I mean, you look at and this was said best, is you have, Shanahan didn't call the greatest of game. It felt like they were trying to force feed Kittle. The offensive line didn't do a good job. Grady Jarrett, we talked about Grady Jarrett in the offseason when they franchised him. I see why now. Yeah. I see exactly why they did that. Right. He abused our interior line. Whenever the offensive line was able to get protection, Garoppolo was off. He was just inconsistent. Whenever he did, receivers dropped the ball left and right. And it just felt like, I know the defense let him down at the end, but I felt like this game the offense could have put this game away. The offense had the ability
to put this game away in the first 3 quarters.
Exactly. And then you have guys like Breida fumble. I can't remember the last time Matt Breida fumbled the ball. He fumbled the ball. It looked like they wanted to force feed Tevin Coleman. It just felt like the offense was out of sync. If the offense was in sync, if the offense was humming, the defense never would have been put in those positions. No matter how great Julio Jones is, they would have never had the ability to keep that game close. It wouldn't have been
a close enough game for them to come back and do that.
Yeah. And then even Kittle. Kittle had an amazing game. But, you look at the stats. Like, George Kittle was, I think, 13 of 17 receiving for 134 yards. The next 3 receivers combined were 4 for 9.
Wow.
Yeah. 4 for 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Totaling, let's see. Give me 1 second. Sorry. I'll put it like this. About less than 50 yards. Roughly 50 yards.
Yeah.
So they were non-existent.
Right.
And then even Kittle on the last drive, the offense had 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. They get the ball to Kittle. When you watch the play, Kittle, all he has to do is he's caught the ball, just turn up field. That's all you have to do. He has blockers in front, 3 yards. He can get that. Yeah. Nobody's really hitting him.
Right.
Instead, he fumbles the ball, has to regather it, gets tackled behind the line. They settle for the field goal.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a growing pain of a young team. It's we just went on the road. We beat the best team that people thought in the NFC, in the New Orleans Saints. Oh, we're untouchable.
Being human, man.
Yeah.
You start to get momentum, and you know what I mean, and you start to believe. You start to. I think what did Dak Prescott say early in the year? I think we're smelling ourselves. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's true though. It's true. In a certain way.
Bosa said it too. Bosa said we didn't come with energy. We came flat. We thought they were gonna be the ones that did it, and they came up short. You could tell right away. And Kyle Shanahan said it best. They're playing like it's their Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right.
And they want to play for their head coach. They like Dan Quinn. I think they just came out flat on the offense. They came out inconsistent. The defense is injured. It's a recipe for a loss.
Yeah. So then going back to the second part, what's the concern going forward for the Niners? Now you're looking at having to really win these next 2 games.
That was the thing I thought of. In my mind, I was like, if you beat Atlanta, that allowed you to slip up. That allowed you to lose to the Rams. And this was my thought before the Rams shit the bed against the Cowboys. When the Rams were on a roll, I was like, okay, if we beat Atlanta, you lose to the Rams, but you're still completely in control of your destiny. You beat the lesser of the threats. All you got to do is go in there and beat Seattle.
Right.
And it's still there, but it's
still in front of you.
Yeah, but now you have to beat the Rams. Beating the Rams is a must. Before, beating the Rams would have been just a luxury.
A plus.
It would have been a plus to be able to sweep the Rams in like 7, 8 years. I can't remember the last time we swept the Rams.
Right.
I know it wasn't done under Harbaugh.
But you know what? You got to win the division within the division. And say what you will about the fucking horrible NFC East, but we've pretty much so far swept that division. Yeah. So, it is about winning your division because ultimately that's going to punch you the ticket for that home playoff game.
Yeah, if they can win out, they'd go 5-1 in that division. The one loss coming against
definitely. So in the chat, they're asking what our thoughts are on if the Cowboys and the Niners play each other in the playoffs.
That would be an interesting game. I think that would be.
Does Dallas concern you at all at this point? Let's say they beat. First of all, it's not a given that they beat the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend and punched their ticket, and it's not a given that you guys have lost to Seattle. But if that scenario plays out and you guys drop the ball to Seattle, and we say we beat the Philadelphia Eagles, What's the concern? Because me personally, I'll start off by saying this. I would start to have a little bit of confidence against the Niners only because of this. I know right now that defense is ailing, and without a bye, we would basically have a bye in Week 17.
Yeah.
And so I would feel like, okay, at least there's a perfect storm where we have a chance against a team that obviously has been playing more consistently through the year than we have.
I think that when I look at the Niners, I look at our ability to run the ball, and I think that Shanahan would go back to his bag of tricks like he did with New Orleans, like he did against some other teams. And I just look at Dallas's run defense, and I'm like, if the Niners can get up and run the ball, I think that that's the key to winning the game. I think because if you can run the ball and you can force, because Dallas, just my opinion, Dallas wants to go to the pass. Dallas wants to abandon they're looking for a reason to abandon the run and Zeke and just throw with Dak. They were so good and they were so ahead, they had no choice against the Rams but to continue to run the ball. But I feel like with Dallas, and if this does happen, we'll preview it more depth. But just from a distance, I think if you can get Dallas down 7-10, they're not beating the Niners because I think they want to throw the ball. And when they throw the ball, you're playing into, the Niners defense's hands. Now you're allowing a Bosa to rush. You're allowing a D Ford who should be back by the playoffs. You have Richard Sherman. You have Jaquaski Tart back. Then all of a sudden you're playing the Niners game.
Right.
That's where I kind of would see that game. If I was going to preview that game now, health permitting, who knows who's going to be healthy, who's not. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about Dak apparently hurt. I don't know, with something with his shoulder. Yeah. If he's compromised going into the playoffs, like if I have to play a hobble Dak, I'm not. Then I really feel because I feel like, okay, when they go to pass the ball, he's what makes me scared because he can throw it anywhere, he can launch it. But if he's hobbled and hurt and he's going to take a second, I mean that only helps the defense.
Oh right, yeah, a half second slower it can make or break a team. And win that game. Yeah. For me though. Maybe Dak being a bit injured because he had a broken finger, I believe. He had an injury to the finger this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that really helped because it really made the Cowboys say, hey, our identity's with the run now. And we're going to stick with it, hell or high water.
Yeah. You know what?
So, I mean, sometimes Dak being hurt doesn't bother me too much because it really is. The star is still Ezekiel Elliott no matter what in that running game and that offensive line.
Yeah. And, I mean, we might as well just transition into your game.
Yeah.
There's not much. That game pissed me off. Where the losses to Seattle and Baltimore, I was like, Seattle, I was sad. Baltimore, I was like, okay, I understood. This one just pissed me off because it was playing down to competition, which is annoying. But, enough of that. Let's talk about, Dallas answered some questions in a big way. All but ending the Rams season, and their playoff chances. So, what did you see from that game?
Who saw this coming?
Not many people. We got one team on a 3-game losing streak. The other team who started to round in a form, beat Seattle, all the momentum, and it was over before it started.
To me, this was a revenge game. We're from the LA area.
Yeah.
The Cowboys in the divisional round came to LA. I was hyped. I threw down all the money on the credit card. I made all the arrangements. Went over there to see a big-time playoff game and got pretty disappointed because the Cowboys were run out of the building.
Yeah.
This was the revenge game. I kind of forgot about that, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't think about that. That would be that motivation that the Cowboys really need. I think the Cowboys, if they've proven anything to me in 2019, they need outside motivation.
Yeah.
To really live up to their talents. And I think that playoff elimination game, and not just being eliminated from the playoff, but how they got eliminated. Yeah. Exactly what the Rams did to us in January is what we did to the Rams this last weekend, except double.
Yeah.
We ran them out of the building. The run, you couldn't stop it. 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 10 yards a carry, 8-yard carry. It's just that line. And like I've told you this too, for as great as Aaron Donald is, and he's probably the best defensive lineman in the league today and has been for the last few years, he is consistently shut out by that Dallas line. He's never made a big play against the Dallas Cowboys in all the games. And we played the Rams quite a bit the last few years. So just the ability to handle that defensive line, that is the strength of the Rams, by our offensive line, really gives me confidence that we can go up against, arguably, that's one of the best defensive lines in the league.
Yeah.
That when that offensive line is healthy, I think a big thing, Connor Williams being hurt, out for the season, Su'a-Filo really gives you strength in the interior where we can now play to our strength, which is that inside run game. I think that was the biggest difference. That nobody's talking about.
Yeah, and I watched a little bit. The one thing I'll say about the Rams are tailor-made to lose to because the Baltimore did to them, because they don't have run-stopping edges. Their edges are Dante Fowler and Clay Matthews.
Right.
So you could seal that up. Now, inside you have Aaron Donald, who's a beast, but like if you have a decent to above or an excellent offensive line, you're going to make some hay against them. What this looked like was, just from my point of view, was the perfect game for you guys. It was, you get a stop, they turn the ball over, and they just kept running the ball. So man, it's hard for me to see, like, when they're on like that. Yeah, Dallas is tough to beat. Dallas is tough to stop.
When they're on their game, man, they're up there with the best of them, and I think they showed that this weekend. And look, here's the thing. Now, I knew this was going to happen. I not the game, but I knew that the Cowboys were capable that this could happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And they finally showed that. And I was telling you this before we recorded. In the end, my goalpost has not moved. I've been saying this since the beginning. I don't care if we make the playoffs at 8-8, as long as we get in the playoffs and we get on a roll late December. So yeah. It's still all ahead of us. That 3-game winning streak to start the beginning of the season, throw it out the window. It doesn't mean shit anymore. That 3-game losing streak that we just got off of, throw it out the window. It doesn't mean shit anymore. Everything comes down now, and I'm just so ready to look forward. Even that Rams game really doesn't mean much to me anymore.
Nice to get a win, but
it's nice to get a win, but the only game that matters now is the hated, bitter NFC East rival, Philadelphia Eagles. This is the biggest game of the weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, when you look at what that represents, this is it. This is a job maker. This is like, I mean, this could be Jason Garrett.
This is final scene in Scarface. Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
This is the game.
Yeah, because if they lose this one, if you guys lose to Philly, which I just can't see that happening, but, that's it for Garrett. It's over.
It's over. That's
the final
sign,
nail.
Seals, and delivers. That's the end.
It's the noose, and that's bang. It's over. And we talked about Philly and them in the other podcast. I just can't buy Philly. Philly's so broken. Dallas is so well put together. It is really hard for me to see. It's hard for me to envision a way in which Dallas loses this game. It really is.
Really?
It really is, because I don't know where.
Well, they're at home. Would you say they're better coached? I mean, those are two right off the bat.
Okay, but
those are two big factors.
Let's look at it like this. The Bears had a better defense than the Eagles. Buffalo had a better defense.
Yeah.
You looked at the game plans, and it just looked like the Bears had a better game. The Bills on offense and the Bears on offense had better game plans. They're, for whatever reason, the Bears they didn't duplicate that the week after. So that game plan against Dallas was something special. I look at Philly, I go, what are they going to do on offense? As great as Zach Ertz is, and he's a top 5 tight end in the league.
Yeah.
He's up there. You can stop him. You can nullify him. As great, and then
because there's absolutely no weapons on the outside.
None. And then even the small, and then
none.
Wentz can't hit the simple ones.
Not consistently.
No.
Yeah.
So you're starting to look around on defense. They don't have a pass rush. They don't have a secondary.
They have a terrible secondary.
Yes.
The Eagles may be one of the worst teams in the leagues outside the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They made Eli look like he was he playing in the Super Bowl against New England? That's how he looked.
Yeah, he did.
That first half, he was
playoff
chucking
Eli.
bombs.
He was fucking playoff Eli.
He was, and it was so, damn, watching that, and you realize that they are physically broken. Their quarterback is shot a little bit, not something that he can't fix in the offseason, but he's got some issues. Their running game is hit or miss. They have nothing on the outside. You're screwed. You're fucked when your number one weapon was DeSean Jackson. That was their go-to.
Yeah, and that's what I feared.
Yeah.
As a Cowboys fan, thinking man, with DeSean Jackson, it can open up a whole nother level of the game.
But the DeSean Jackson that left Philly isn't the DeSean Jackson that's
right.
coming back.
Yeah, well, I don't think he ever got back to Philly, did he, this year?
No.
Yeah, You know?
And then you look at their secondary, and it's just so their corners are so bad.
Yeah,
now, I don't know.
They're
But
bad.
one thing I wonder about is the health of not just Amari Cooper, because I don't know what's up with Amari Cooper, but Dak Prescott's kind of broken too. He's got a hurt shoulder, so what's going on with that?
So yeah, I mean, Dak showed up on the injury report, and apparently he's limited in practice, but Dak's a warrior, dude. Dak's gonna be out there. Dak's gonna do his thing. Dak is the kind of guy that has the silver bullet, dude.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
he's the guy that has the silver bullet, meaning that
you know what, make the shot that counts.
Yeah, he doesn't need to carry the team the whole. That's what we got Ezekiel Elliott for in that offensive line. We just need Dak to make the plays that need to when you need him most in the big moments.
Yeah,
which, again, I think he can do it.
So I think maybe like a last second touchdown win. I mean, he throws it right over Fletcher Cox, the tip of Fletcher Cox's hands for a winning touchdown.
All he needs to do.
Yeah, and then he wins.
Terrible, but in a certain way. But yet, it's totally inside. But yeah. It's true. That Dak just needs, but it is really true for the game that Dak really does only need to make those pivotal plays when he's called upon. But from down in and down out, you need to lean on Zeke. You need to lean on the offensive line. I think by now, anybody that watches the NFL, anybody that watches the Cowboys will agree with me saying you just cannot consistently lean on Dak and expect that defense to hold up.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
No.
That defense plays better when they're supported, when they're ahead, when they're playing from ahead, and they can get after the quarterback, pin their ears back. Then you see DeMarcus Lawrence look like the player that we paid.
Yeah.
He's worth that money. He doesn't look worth that money when we're playing from behind.
Yeah, because you can slow him down with the run. You can do all kinds of things. Yeah, I agree too. And I just look at Dak like it's not a knock to say you can be an Alex Smith type guy. And Alex Smith went to an NFC Championship game. Look, Dak, we need you to make a couple plays on third down between the 20s, and when we get down to the 20s, we just need a simple run. Just run up the middle, zone read. That's it.
Yeah, really. I think the key here is, Philly doesn't have the weapons to make the big play.
No.
So make them earn every yard going down the field, play in, play out, stay disciplined. I think the gap integrity is important for the linebackers, not to overrun, not to run themselves out of the place. Don't get excited. Don't be a hero.
Yeah.
No hero ball. As long as they play fine, they should have the edge against Philly because, like we said, they are the more talented team.
Yeah.
I am a little nervous because this is an NFC East rival. They're better coached. They've been there before, and they're at home.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at that first game, it kind of like they fell behind so quickly. Like, I think they had 2 straight turnovers.
Right. I would love to see that happen again.
Yeah.
Because that just spells a Dallas win.
Yeah. And then they just never climbed out of those holes. Because I think those are 2 straight touchdowns, Dallas turned them into points real quick. Yeah. So you would think that the probability of that happening again is unlikely, like, to start the game. Right. Whereas you just wonder, like, it's going to come down to, and I think that the guy that's going to have to carry this team on offense for Philly is going to be Miles Sanders. It really, honestly, because Dak, it has to be him.
But what's he going to do? I mean, I'm not saying that he's played bad.
No.
He's obviously flashed.
Yes, but if he can sit there and set up their defense, if he can get between, your team's not a great tackling team, your team's not great against the run. So if he's over there,
but you think he could do that consistently for like the majority of a ball game?
If he can get there, if you're on 3rd and 2 and he's a threat, yeah. If it's 3rd and 2 and he's ready, you guys, okay, I'll put it like this: Cole Beasley beat you guys. How great is Cole Beasley? You're going to tell me Miles Sanders can't do on the ground a similar version when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, catch a little pass?
The Cowboys were worried about Turkey that day.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to talk about the Bears. You let Trubisky run on you like that?
He was going to lose
Sam
his
Darnold
job.
Throw bombs?
We felt better. Well, he had mono. We wanted him to feel better about himself.
Yeah.
Things like that. We hate Philly, dude. They're not going to let the Philadelphia Eagles do that to us.
But you see my point that because we know Wentz is only going to throw to Hurts.
I mean, that's his target. That's his guy.
That's his only way. So what, for them to win, and I already told you, I don't see where they do. I don't see a path for victory. But if they're going to be competitive, that guy has to step up. He has to be able to convert on 3rd down. He has to give Dallas Dallas's defense something else to worry about.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
You know?
I completely agree with that assessment. That's the only way they can win this game.
Because it's Ertz or nothing.
Right. And, he can't. A tight end is not going to just... I mean, I'm sorry,
he's
but as bad as the Cowboys' defense and as inconsistent as they've been...
He's no George Kittle.
No, well, Kittle's way more explosive.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I start thinking about explosive, you know? And I don't see it. I don't doubt Philadelphia, though. And Dallas has not been consistent. Dallas needs to prove to me that they can put 2 good games in a row.
The Eagles made Dwayne Haskins look like a freaking rookie of the year. I mean, he was like 17 or 14.
The key is going to be, can the Eagles stop the run?
Yeah.
Are they up to that? That's what it is.
If you can force, I'll tell you what. But see, even then, the way to beat Dallas was get them out of their run game as quickly as possible. Right. Dallas is, like I told you, Dallas is one of those guys that, like, they can be a technical boxer, but if you punch them in the face, they want to swing. And if you can swing better than them, you can beat them.
You'll beat them.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally see that.
Yeah. So, totally, but the thing is that, let's say you punch them in the face, they start swinging, and you got a glass jaw. That's what the secondary of the Eagles are. They're glass jaw secondary.
Right.
So I don't know. The only thing that worries me, like I said, is health for the Cowboys on, with Dak and with Amari Cooper. But if they're healthy enough to make the plays, man, I know they're at home, but Brian Dawkins isn't walking through that door.
No, he's not.
So he's not. I don't know what you're gonna do on defense. So yeah, when I look at this game, I mean, Dallas should be able to win this one. I think they win it by 10. I could see like a 30-20 victory.
I can totally see Philadelphia winning this game, just to play spoiler. Just getting it done, taking the lead in the NFC East. Garrett's pretty much going bye-bye already. The Cowboys are on fire. They're a dumpster fire. All the talk. Skip Bayless is going to throw everybody's jersey in the trash can.
Yeah.
And then I can see Philadelphia losing to Eli Manning because Eli Manning's got to get back to 500. And we beat the Washington Redskins, and we win the division by beating the Redskins.
Oh, I just can't see that.
That's an NFC East championship, a true NFC East championship. Have you seen the Gridiron Heights?
Not yet, no.
Oh man, it's the Eagles and the Cowboys trying to get the NFC East
I saw that, yeah.
You saw that one?
No, I saw like the clip for it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's hilarious.
Is it? I put on my watch to watch it. But you know what? Here's the thing. I think to end this one, if they turn around and do to you what you did to them in Dallas, I could see the Cowboys falling apart.
Yeah.
Like if they go like, let's say a Zeke fumble and a Dak pick, or a Dak fumble, a sack fumble, and you're down 14-0 to them. Oh man,
yeah. They got us out of our game already.
Yeah. And then the reason why I find it hard to believe is if you lose that game, I just feel like they're broken. I think that's it. Jason Garrett knows he's fired. As bad as the Redskins are, I think that's a game that would just end this franchise. Like this season. Like that's it. This the way we look at the Dallas Cowboys now, that ends it. The loss to the Eagles ends that.
Yeah.
Because then Jason Garrett knows he's fired. Oh, we can win. No, you just lost to the Eagles. We spent weeks and weeks. We spent a month hyping this game up. You said yourself, you gave up to this point, every other loss is a pass. All these losses have been a pass.
Wins or losses don't matter to me right now. All the matters.
So you can't go in there, and that's the mindset of sports talk radio, the guys on ESPN, on Fox. You don't think that's the thought process in the, with Jerry, with the owner, with everybody? They lose this game, we're done. End their season.
Yeah.
So that's going to be hard. That's why this is a must win. This is it.
The biggest game of the week. And the biggest game of the season.
This is a turning point for that franchise, in my opinion, because it's not going to, if they lose this one, it will not look the same in 2020.
I agree with that for sure. Going to be major changes made. So let's skip forward and move to the, this is actually a Saturday game, right?
Yeah, Saturday night.
So Saturday night game, we got the LA Rams going to Santa Clara, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams, man, they are not technically eliminated, though.
No. They're on death's door.
But they are knocking on death's door.
Yep.
You guys can put the final nail in the coffin. But all in all, you guys need this win now. Yeah. This is a must win for you guys.
Losing to Atlanta kind of really put this game in perspective. And it's going to test the character of this team. This team has you look at everything that they've resolved. They lose to Seattle on a field goal. They have a rough game against Arizona. How do they respond? They blow out the Packers.
Right.
They lose on the road by a field goal to Baltimore. How do they respond? Game-winning field goal against New Orleans.
Right.
How do they respond to this? Is something different. This is, thought you were, the best. You thought you were the best. You went in there, you beat New Orleans. You're coming home. Everybody's fucking singing your praises. That's not named Jason Whitlock or Stephen A. Smith. You know, those are the only two dudes that just, they want nothing to do with that. But when you look at this team, you hear things like what Kittle said is simple. It's like, I wish we could play today. I wish we could play right now.
Right.
That's how angry he was at that. They were angry at this loss. I don't think they were angry about the losses before.
They're angry with themselves.
Yes, that's why.
Yeah.
They because I think you can look at the team and say, you know what, on that night, the Seattle Seahawks made one or two more better plays than the Niners.
Right.
The Baltimore Ravens made one or two more better plays. They're equals. We'll see them in the playoffs. We'll see, we could see Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Right. You're not seeing the Atlanta Falcons anywhere. That was it. You're not seeing them in the playoffs. You're not seeing them in the NFC Championship. So to lose to them in such a way where you just came out so flat, and now you have to deal with a team that, I don't know what the Rams are going to look like. I thought this game would be a little more intriguing if they had beaten you guys, but they laid an egg. So I don't know what to think of when I look at the Rams. I do know they're a lot healthier than the first time we played them.
Right.
They have Gurley back. They added Jalen Ramsey. And at the end of the day, to me, the wide receivers have to show out, because what I assume the game plan from the Rams is going to be is we're going to put Jalen Ramsey on George Kittle.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to lock him down.
Okay.
And I think Ramsey can handle that.
Okay.
I really do think turning out he's going to be hard to stop. Ramsey's a big corner.
Yeah, he is.
So it's not like you're putting a small one.
Right.
And so then where are the other receivers? Who's gonna get free? Who's gonna break free? Can we hold up before Aaron Donald gets home? On defense, who's gonna play? Who's gonna be healthy? I think Richard Sherman's gonna be healthy. And K'Wan Williams, the cornerback,
to play.
Huh?
I heard he wants to play.
Yeah, he's gonna. It looks like he's been practicing, so I think he's good to go. The only one that's not gonna play from that group is Tart and D Ford. D Ford might not come back to the playoffs. Tart might not come back to the playoffs. He broken ribs, so he's been out for a couple weeks. Yeah. So it's what the Rams do. If the Dallas did what I think they did, I think the Rams are gonna be a little bit shocked. But it's a division game, and you never know.
Right.
So this is a big test for a young team and kind of how they handle kind of losing, playing down your level of competition. How do you handle losing, like that? They haven't felt that before.
Yeah. I mean, when you're a good team and you're a successful team, we start looking at the big matchups like Seattle and New Orleans, Green Bay. You guys just ran through the gauntlet playing Baltimore and all those teams. But then it's like, how do you respond? Do you beat the teams you're supposed to beat?
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't. Everybody has a bad loss.
Yeah.
We lost to the damn Jets.
Yeah.
This is your Jets.
Yeah, it is.
It happens to the best of them and the worst of them.
Yeah. I mean,
because they're all NFL teams, dude.
Yeah,
Any given Sunday is a phrase for a reason.
Yeah, I think what really, I think it's playing down to that level of competition. And it's something I haven't seen this year. So it's foreign to me to see that. It's foreign.
Right.
And I mean,
but it's not. It's like Rocky says, dude. It's not how hard you hit. No. It's how hard you get hit and get back up. So are you going to get back up from this?
Yeah, we're going to find out Sunday night.
That's the key, really. It really is the key to this game.
Because you don't want to play, like you said, I don't want, am I afraid of playing the Dallas Cowboys? No. Do I want to play them after losing 2 or 3 straight? No, I do not. Because then you're really kind of like, you're shot mentally. You lose 3 straight, you back into the playoffs is not how you want to get in.
No. No, definitely not.
And then, you look at everything now. At the end of the day, if they can win one more game, they've tripled their win total from last year, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take away from the season that they've had. I mean, you finally see the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, the plan for what they did in 3 years, the growth to go from just a 2-14, no talent, bare roster, to a team that you look at like health permitted is going to be a team that's going to be there, going to win 8, 9, 10 games if they're healthy every year. Can capture that and be consistent, a consistent team. Can be a maybe not as great as, but like go to that New Orleans teams where they're always in the mix,
Right.
And I don't want to lose sight of that, and that's something you have to always kind of keep in mind, that they're not. This is not an old team. This is not a team that's trying to scrap for a win. This is a team that's entering their prime. I mean, you look at the talent they have on offense, which is doomed teams of the past, like the Bears and Jags. So.
But be warned, man. Windows close faster than we think. They open and they close faster than we think.
I know, and I look at like the Jags and I look at the Bears. They were two teams I think of, and I just look at like, okay, what is consistency? Consistency is a quarterback and a play, and what was it saying? A play caller, a playmaker, and a passer. And if you have those three, you can be consistent. And you have Kittle, Garoppolo, and Shanahan. As long as those three are there, I think
Shanahan's got to prove that he can handle success still, though.
He's still, yeah.
Because it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to stay there. Yeah. You can climb that hill. But how long can you stay on top of that hill? Yeah. That's difficult for the best of the best.
Yeah.
Other than Belichick, nobody's really done that for, you have your team of the 80s, team of the 90s. Except for those teams that we call teams of the decades.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
No. But I think if you can when I look at Shanahan, I'm just like, okay, he does make mistakes, but he also makes great plays. I mean, going for the play call on 4th and 2
I'm not concerned. Yeah. I'm really not concerned with the 49ers.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
I would be concerned with this. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, do you really want, with the health of the 49ers on their lines, D-linemen, a lot of D-linemen went down.
Yep.
A lot of O-linemen are either coming off of injury or have been injured this year.
Lost their starting center.
Yeah. So it's like, do you really want to face a Cowboys team that could potentially get rest in week 17? I mean, that's got to bother you a little bit.
Yeah, no, it does.
Knowing that Dallas can really rest the majority of their starters in week 17 and basically claim a bye and have home field.
Yeah, and the Niners are still playing. Yeah. So I look at it like, I mean, when you put everything in a vacuum, talent versus talent, I still think the Niners would have the advantage because of their ability to run the ball. But when you add all the factors in, a bye, injuries, being able to rest, it's not the team that I'm worried about. It's like you said, the fact I have to go on the road on a short week.
And the fact, here's the thing. When did you guys have your bye? Week 4?
Week 4.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So
the Cowboys had a bye, week 8?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And you're starting to see, you're seeing the injuries mount up. You're seeing the exhaustion. I mean, even a guy like Nick Bosa, who, 9 sacks, the dude's a beast. This is the most football he's ever played.
Right. The college season doesn't run.
No, this long and this vigorous. This is pro football. So, he's even having to get accustomed to that. And he's one of the best players on the defense. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I agree with you 100%. When you add everything that stacks against the Niners having to go on the road, either to Philly or to Dallas, whichever one, it's not something I really want to look at.
You need that bye.
Yeah, you do.
I think the Niners, more than any team, need that bye.
Yeah. I think if you want to make a deep playoff run, if you want to play in the NFC Championship, you want to get to the Super Bowl, you need that bye if you're the Niners. They're, like you said, they're kind of fading a little bit, but this game will decide. If they go out there and all the talk after the game against Atlanta, we want to play now, we want this taste out of our mouth, the hate, the match, they did so angry about the loss while they clinched a playoff spot, gives me hope that, okay, you take that intensity and you go whip the living shit out of the, you go do what the Cowboys did to the Rams. You go hang 40
it's possible. You just seen it happen.
Yeah. You go do that. You do that, and then you make, like I said, you can make quick work of them, put them out of your, put them away, and then you get everybody ready for Seattle. Right. Going up to Seattle. This is yours. This is your game. Next week's mine. If we win this one, it's everything. It is the number 1 seed. Whether it's going to go, if the Seahawks have to go to Philly, we have to go to Dallas or Philly, or if it's us, being able to host the NFC Championship game, it's just such a big difference. And it starts with beating the Rams, putting everything together. It starts with Shanahan, calling a better game. It starts with the wide receivers, getting open. It starts with Garoppolo, making more consistent passes. Defense, getting healthy. The defense is fine when they're healthy. That's why I give the defense, we talked about what I gave a pass to. That's the reason why I gave the defense a bit of a pass in the game against Atlanta, whereas I held the offense a little more accountable. There's no excuse. The offense is a lot healthier than the defense.
Right.
So there's no excuses for that poor play. You can look at that like your backup safety, your backup nickel corner, your backup corner going against Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. We're talking about MVP of the league. They can only do so much.
Yeah, right. It's where you place the expectation.
Yeah. So I expect them to go out here. I expect them to beat the Rams. I expect them to beat the Rams by 17 points. I really do. If this is the team that we're talking about, they're supposed to go beat the Rams. Go do what Dallas did. Yeah. I know it's hard. I know they're tough, but guess what? They're not in LA. You already beat them down here. Shut down Todd Gurley. The receivers, they're the key. If the Niners win this game, it's because the receivers were making plays consistently. That's it. If they don't, and like I said, Jalen Ramsey's on Kittle, then we're screwed. Because I don't know how else they manufacture, that ability to score. Yeah.
So I mean, we got the big game, and then you basically have two big games coming up.
Yeah.
But the playoffs, they're not in stone for the Cowboys. We'll see after this weekend, but nobody's out of it, man. It feels good to have two teams, whether you're on the red side or you're on the blue side, when it comes to being this late in the season and not out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And very into it. It's a good feeling.
It's a weird feeling. I haven't felt this in about 3-4 years.
Good feeling. Yeah, and we talked about it, back in the preseason.
Yeah.
And here we are. So, we'll see how it all plays out. You got our game picks. You got our game predictions. Again, if you guys want, you can download the Pro Pick'em app and go into the Say What You Like Sports Podcast League and, join the league and make your picks. But you know what? We're about good here. So for Philip Enriquez and Eric Hernandez, we will catch you on the Week 17 edition, hopefully after some big wins. But we will catch you guys all on the next one. Peace out.